Welcome everybody to Bitcoin Live on the Thursday evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Today, a special show. We're going to talk about Lumexo, a decentralized app on the Stellar blockchain. And today with us is the whole cast. We got the marketing director and we got the two founders and CEOs of Lumexo. Welcome to Bitcoin Live.
Thank you for having us.
Guys.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. You're all anonymous, which is totally cool. But tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in crypto. Who wants to go first?
I can go ahead and jump in. So I've been working in marketing for over 15 years now. And it was about 5 years ago, 2020, peak pandemic, and the aftermath following that, where I had left some other kinds of marketing work. I was working with like stem cell therapy, some crazy stuff. We thought we were going to change the world, make people live forever, But I was like really finding that in the midst of the pandemic, who's going to spend money on experimental procedures like this? When we're dealing with the middle of a pandemic, people aren't working, they're all staying home. But in the midst of this, kind of a new opportunity came up, and I started to see all these people who are staying at home all the time. You had these stimulus checks going out, you had unemployment, people were getting paid ridiculous amounts every week to be unemployed. They're like, why do I want to go back to work? And they were looking for fun things to do with their money. So they started playing these little money games, and getting involved in this new thing that was kind of becoming popular. Not brand new, but like finally getting attention, and that was decentralized finance. And we had what was called DeFi Summer. And back in that time, I was very much an Ethereum maximalist. I really loved everything that was being built and being developed. I just started as just kind of an enthusiast, just trying to learn. But as I participated in more and more protocols and started getting involved with teams, I started writing articles about different things. I discovered like projects like Badger DAO in their heyday, bringing Bitcoin to DeFi, and just how exciting that was to participate in something like that and get an airdrop free money. Are you kidding me? Just from like testing out a platform. I mean, you might get a little bit of money from opening an account with your bank, but you don't get like $1,500, you know what I mean? And then if you hold it, for all you know, it could become like $10,000. I heard about people who were like participating in these projects and becoming like, God, like over and over again, investing, getting involved in these different yield farming strategies. They're becoming freaking millionaires, like this was the dream. And to be able to participate in this emerging technology and get involved in something like that, to me, there was just nothing better. So I completely restructured my marketing agency to cater exclusively to decentralized finance. And that's where I've been ever since. And while I've always been so in love with and passionate about Ethereum, what I did notice from back in that day was, we were really passionate about decentralized finance, but what's really important for DeFi to work effectively is, well, being able to swap efficiently or get in and out of different strategies without paying an arm and a leg. And God, like what we were seeing at the height of like DeFi Summer is people paying sometimes between like $150 and like sometimes $400 for a freaking transaction. Yeah, it was insane, and like it doesn't really make you want to participate in a yield strategy that earns you 5% when you have to pay that much to swap out of it. My God, so as much as I loved Ethereum, I've always been kind of like curious about what other like networks there are out there, what other ways we could preserve this DeFi environment, but also have more flexibility in the use of the transactions or in the network, like faster finality, better speeds, but also better costs, you know what I mean? And still preserving that decentralized environment, but not having to spend so much to participate. It's been a challenge finding the perfect network that satisfies all those points for me. But then I discovered Stellar and this wonderful team here that I've become a part of with Lumexo. And I think it's really incredible, some of the high points of Stellar. And if I can just highlight those, and I promise we'll go ahead and get it to the rest of the team. But, Stellar basically exists to make money move like email, instant, borderless, permissionless. They have a built-in decentralized exchange, AMM, path payments, and anchors that make it a complete financial stack. And that's part of the reason that you see the fast speeds and finality and just everything that you deal with, low costs, that you don't see on Ethereum with everything built on top of it, in such a way. You also have Sorbonne and what's being enabled with that to enable a DeFi environment akin to what's going on with Ethereum. But what makes me so passionate about this is that it's in its infancy. You know what I mean? And we get to be the pioneers of this new space, as if if it's almost like the Ethereum world again, but Ethereum's $60, right? You know what I mean? Like back when things are like that, or even $150, way before like this $4,000 mark. Who knows where XLM could go? It's exciting, but it's not our job to really predict prices. To me, it's really about growth over time. It's what can we do? What can we achieve on this network with the low cost and high speeds, as low as 5 seconds. You have the native Stellar decentralized exchange and AMM, the ability for path payments. They've got these changes going on where they just recently did the Ethereum standard. I might be butchering this. I think it's like 3368, but basically they've accepted the Ethereum token standard to where they're going to be working with real world assets as well. So there's really a lot that's going on that's super exciting, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it and to kind of see where this network and where this team goes next. And
and your enthusiasm shows. My brother would say XLM is an institutional grade blockchain, which it is. I think it's also very active in Europe, actually, where we are located.
Yeah, it is.
So, but who's next? Who wants to take the next turn?
Actually, I will get a word. And my journey started in 2017, and at that moment, Bitcoin was so hype on it. So at a young age, I dip in the Bitcoin, and for me, it's a bit different because I started early. I was how all the things going, and for me, I had at that time some video games, and all my money I spent on crypto. So I got some gains, and it was enough for me at that moment because my desire was to build something. And after all these years, we really wanted to build something that needs to help, to truly help people. And Stellars combines the institutional things with the DeFi environment. And last year, when they launched Sorban on the mainnet, we truly said it's our chance, basically. And that's the reason we tried to born the Lumexo project. And we started with the built-in wallet, with an interface for the SDEX, and we hope as soon as possible to have our wallet browser extension, our native mobile app, because we will bring much more people to have access to our product. And after that, we want to build a complete DeFi ecosystem on the Stellar network.
Wow, that's big steps. So lots of stuff is coming.
What you said?
Lots of stuff is coming from you guys.
We truly started to offer a viable product at the beginning, and We started as a browser interface, but with a small step, we will start building hope a giant project.
Nice, nice. Yeah, because maybe we can just dive into sort of what you're building. One of the things that I was sort of wondering about, because it's a wallet and it's a decentralized exchange, but you also have, if I'm not mistaken, you also have Lumen Swap and Lumen DEX, right? So how is Lumexo different from those decentralized exchanges, or how do you just take it however you?
I mean, part of it is, in my view, the ethos with which we operate, and it's one of those things where like we don't really like want to compare ourselves so much to other projects. One, because like we don't want to talk negatively about anyone else. We're different. We have our own ethos, our own approach. But to me, a big part of what I love about Lumexo and their approach is the free market approach. It's the idea, if I launch a token, people can have access to it. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's not like we want people to take advantage of people or scam anything like that, but everyone should be able to have access to the tokens they want to buy without restriction. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is really unique about us. Additionally, I think it's beneficial to talk about how Lumexo as a whole is different from other decentralized exchanges, because you might think of Uniswap, you might think of
Yeah.
these other types of exchanges, right? And while they're decentralized and there's a certain non-custodial nature to them, you're reliant on the security of smart contracts. You're reliant on certain things that are not native to the Ethereum network in the case of Uniswap, whereas what we've built is native to Stellar. So to kind of express what that means, so Lumexo is a non-custodial platform built on Stellar, featuring a built-in wallet and a wide range of functionalities, trading and swaps on the Stellar native DEX. Basically, we facilitate these transactions and make it easier for you to access this network and not have to trust us. You know what I mean? With your funds, with your data, with anything. You just literally get on and use it just like a DEX, but we call it an SDEX, a Stellar DEX. It enables asset management and transfers. You can provide liquidity. You can do all of these things. It is compatible with popular wallets such as Lobster, Xpol, and Freighter, and in the future, powered by Soraban smart contracts, which is kind of what we were talking about with the DeFi component, because this is very much in its infancy. They just released this one, I know, Protocol 23. They did just they're recently having a governance vote on this, I believe, but essentially this is going to enable and improve some of the capabilities of the network to implement these actual DeFi capabilities, which will enable us through Soraban to do so many other things with the platform that'll be incredibly exciting. We want to integrate automated strategies such as staking, lending, and borrowing, and advanced DeFi tools, evolving into a complete DeFi ecosystem. Additionally, and this is what I was trying to talk about earlier, but I kind of butchered it, we want to take advantage of things like this real world asset kind of revolution, because what people are dealing with, and I just moved here to Georgia. And I did that in large part because of crypto regulation back in America, and what a lot of people are interested in with Stellar and even some other networks is the ease with which you can transfer things like stable coins. It's also things like being able to trade gold. Like I recently, because I have some fears about currency back in America, I gave my parents some dirty fiat money and I told them to go buy some gold. Okay.
Yep.
And they had such a hell of a time doing it, because like they went to a bunch of different places, the markups like 20%, and they can't get you what you want. It's difficult. Well, it's actually ERC 3643 standard, but basically the Stellar Foundation has joined this, in alliance with Ethereum. It bridges the Stellar and Ethereum kind of communities here. But it's wonderful because it makes compliance ready real world assets available at scale. meaning you could buy gold on the blockchain with Stellar. And instead of paying like ridiculous gas fees to do so on Ethereum, because again, this is an Ethereum standard, right? You can do it for like pennies, less. Actually, I'm probably over speaking the cost by saying pennies. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. It unlocks global adoption of tokenized finance. And basically, for us to be a part of that, it enables us to deliver decentralized low-cost swaps and open access to tokenized markets. I mean, this isn't just about interoperability. It's about making real-world assets available to everyone, everywhere, borderlessly, across countries, wherever you are. And that may seem great and like, oh, I can make a lot of money. I can buy gold, or I can buy low, sell high. But this changes lives on the micro level. We've got people who can't even get money quickly to their freaking grandma who's sick in another country. And if they try to use a bank, it's going to take weeks. You can use blockchain with someone who's knowledgeable, and with Stellar, you can do it in seconds and for very, very low fees. I mean, how can you say no to that? And again, like, that opportunity on Ethereum is just not present anymore. It's not just that Ethereum's developed and it's wonderful and we don't need anything else. No, it has problems. We still have these expensive gas fees. And now comes in Stellar that's literally ready to solve all these problems and do it with DeFi. I mean, what more could you want? You know, you get to have your cake and eat it too for a low price.
And I think one of the benefits of Stellar as a blockchain is also, I think it's very much in line with legal, regulatory and compliance issues, right?
Yes, and you know, the best thing about what we've kind of built with Lumexo as well is that we don't have to be so worried about that in a sense, because Lumexo is non-custodial, meaning we don't manage your money. We're not a bank, so we're not beholden to these other standards that certain centralized entities have to fall under. But it's also like, because it's the Stellar network, you know, which has already been managed, created by a team of developers, even more extensive than our own, I gotta say. But because it's backed by the Stellar infrastructure, it's not like you have to trust us, you know, some guys who might be in our grandma's basement putting this together. We're not, but you know, you don't have to trust us. It's the network that you're trusting, and if you trust Stellar, you can basically trust Lumexo. That's the point. Your keys never leave your device. Regulation is less relevant when you're simply an access layer to Stellar's public infrastructure. And I feel like what we've done and what we're working on with regards to DeFi and what's coming next with Soraban, it's really exciting. And I just want people to understand that. So when they come into the room, it's not just when token or when rewards, you know, or can I be a mod? It's like, guys, come on, don't you get it? You got to get what's going on here. You got to get excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole revolution going on, and but because it's digital and many people are working 9 to 5, you know, it's sort of escaping their attention completely until, of course, it hits them like a ton of bricks. And speaking about, you know, fun, you also went to Rio, right? There was this like a really big event there.
Well, we are going to Rio.
Oh, still going. Okay.
Correct. So that is actually next month. But basically, what I love about it, and again, I'm kind of looking at this in terms of like my former experience with Ethereum, right? I from what I've read about this Meridian event, which is September 17th and 18th, like you see in Rio de Janeiro, I've got a nice all expenses flight paid to go out there and represent Lumexo. Thank you, guys. But basically, what I think of it like is kind of like the ETH Denver of Stellar. Okay, because you know, if you're familiar, if you come from Ethereum networks, or you know, one of the biggest events that they have every year is ETH Denver, and you've got people who come out and they do speaking gigs. There's lots of networking opportunities where you can meet the movers and shakers in the Ethereum community, discover new projects that people are developing. It's freaking amazing. They've also got these ridiculous fuzzy hats you can wear. I mean, there's just so much to be excited about. And I missed it last year. I was so mad that I missed it, but they even had an after party rave. I missed the rave, damn it. But they have so much to do. It's so exciting. And so I've been taking a look at Stellar and this Meridian event, and it seems akin to that. They've got their agenda listed, and they've got a bunch of speakers there. At the end of every day, they've got kind of like a almost like a have some wine and chat with some founders and some devs, you know what I mean? Get to know some people, shill your stuff, you know, whatever. I just am excited about that. But to us, what we're excited about is particularly as Lumexo, the opportunity to potentially connect with people in the greater Stellar network, show them what we're building, what we're working on, and get them excited about it, and form partnerships. Because, you know, we've talked about this, but and I don't want to drop any names like we've literally talked to anybody yet. We're upfront about what we're trying to do. There's certain people we want to reach out to, right? Because, you know, you're not going to make it in this space by not partnering with people, by not making friendships, you know what I mean? More than just partnering, but getting to know people. I really want the opportunity to go there and show people what we're working on and see what things we can integrate into Lumexo. One potential opportunity that we've talked about is, you know, we looked at this idea, you know, we were talking about things that we could enable beyond a DEX, right? Like such as, what if we want to enable borrowing or lending and things like of that nature, right? And I talked about Compound because that's what I'm familiar with from Ethereum. And apparently there's this entity, Blend Capital, that's doing this type of thing already now on Stellar. So being able to do all those same Compound features, but not having to pay ridiculous gas prices to enable it, you know? And if we were able to partner with somebody like that, I mean, granted, I don't want to say the wrong term. It's you could call it open source, you could call it permissionless. We could technically go on there and use their developer tools, whatever, and just enable it ourselves. But no, we want to meet them. We want to get their blessing. You know what I mean? We want them to send us their goodwill. We want to work with them, you know, and we want to work with others in the space, whether it be Aqua or just, again, Stellar Org in general. And that's why we're going to be here at Meridian, because even if it's not anyone specifically, we feel like we have the opportunity to talk to these kind of people there and grow this project in a meaningful way that makes it useful to all of our users and something that they're going to remember, you know, something that they're going to use every day, like Uniswap, you know, but again on Stellar. And that's what I'm really excited about, is just the opportunity to go there, see a new country, meet some people, and really introduce them to this wonderful product that we're developing.
And there's some fans in the chat. Lency says, greetings to Bitcoin Live and Lumexo. Greetings back. So, yeah, do you guys have something to add to what Fry said? Well, you know.
Can you repeat what you said one more time, please? Because my connection is pretty low.
No problem. Do you want to sort of add something to what Fry just explained or said?
Yeah, basically, Fry told a lot of things about our projects, and basically, Rio it's the most important event for us because we can open our doors to the Stellar community, and yeah, we can connect with other projects, with other teams, maybe with some developers, and yeah, we still want to grow our team, you know, and yeah, Rio it's really important for us.
I actually have one question that I always ask most projects. Like you have this like logo or mascot. Why did you pick the squid?
Because we want to provide multiple products, or maybe multiple solutions, and that's the reason we choose the octopus.
Like every
That
solution
that was
for the
yeah,
octopus.
yeah, yeah, that was the idea of the octopus, because yeah.
Now that makes a lot of sense. They're one of the smartest creatures on Earth, if not the smartest.
Yeah,
Good for us
yeah.
that we know of. So yeah, wow, that's really amazing. And you also mentioned like real world assets. Of course, it's like a really booming market and super hot. And DeFi, of course. And DeFi is probably okay. So that's maybe an interesting question. Like, where do you see DeFi going this bull run? Because this bull run has been, to be honest, we're in a bull run, but it feels like a bear market. I'm not sure. Are you guys?
I wouldn't say that.
No,
For
no. But it's
example,
kind of, yeah, go on.
if you're joining crypto in maybe 2020 August, you are in a bull run.
True,
So
true.
depends when you join, actually.
No,
Depends a lot.
we're definitely in the bull run. But the way sort of the alts sometimes get massacred, it's kind of
Um,
brutal.
in my opinion, I'm a Ripple and Stellar enthusiast, so I think I'm in a bull run.
True, true,
So
true.
depends, actually. Um,
My brother is also very happy. He's a big XRP, XLM, Algorand. That bunch of cryptos that are. He always says they're ISO compliant, ISO
Yeah,
compliant.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I wanted to say, because some of ISO 2022 compliance are in a bull run right now. So
True,
so yeah,
true.
depends what you hold in.
Also like time frame, you know what I mean? Because if you look at anything over time, like people will say things like Bitcoin, what an unstable asset, right? But is the housing market an unstable asset? If you look between 2007 and 2008, you know what I mean? There's a reason nobody wanted to short it. And you have a whole movie called The Big Short, right? But
Yeah, right.
if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, and even Stellar, XLM has experienced tremendous growth. It's what are you investing in? Are you trusting meme coins? Are you trusting, certain sketchy things? Are you trusting the reliable assets? It doesn't mean though that there aren't things that experience some volatility. That's very true. But again, what I see is that the networks, assets, that the projects that are here to stay, they are growing over time. We are seeing tremendous growth in this space. And really, to me, it's what I like to focus on is, cycles will come and go. And, we're not here to really comment on that. But what I see happening worldwide is a tremendous embrace of crypto, okay? Decentralized finance. And while Bitcoin is digital gold, it's like a rock, I always say it's a big dumb rock, and I love it. It's a big dumb gold rock. It's very valuable. It's very hard to produce. I had someone approach me, okay, and they were talking about with this government embrace of BTC, they were actually looking to find a government that would pay them as a miner to actually produce, to give them like $100 million or something insane to produce a Bitcoin farm. And they would give the government 80% of their yield and take only 20% of their time, because they know that that would be worthwhile for them, that governments are starting to consider adoption of these major assets. And why shouldn't they try to capitalize on that and take advantage of maybe a country that has a cheaper cost per kilowatt for energy? You know what I mean? Like, when people are talking about those kinds of things, you know what I mean? How can you, with Bitcoin, with an immovable asset like Bitcoin, how can you not feel like the growth is coming everywhere, especially with Ethereum, especially with XLM? You know what I mean? Especially if you can boast, you can talk about things like fast finality, like quick finality, like low costs, and now DeFi. I mean, that's just wonderful. There's so much opportunity there. And while we'll see ups and downs, I think long term, it's growth that we're going to see. So to me, again, if you look at my point of view, being in since DeFi summer, I'd argue too, we've been in a bull ever since. You know what I mean? But we're gonna have peaks and valleys.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm happy, but I have a large bag of Bitcoin and also some XRP and XLM. So I'm doing okay. But I do know some people who are having a very tough time some friends who, because when new people get into crypto, they always want to buy the smallest coins, meme coins or, obscure altcoins. And they're just getting butchered. Like,
yeah, I mean, they have the most potential for gains, but it's with great, there's great reward, but there's also great risk, and sometimes the risk outpaces the reward,
Well, I guess the good news is that Ethereum is finally picking up steam and getting close to, breaking its all-time high. So that's good news for.
Thank God, right?
Thank God we waited.
Yeah, basically, the people in general try to find small gems, but basically on this bull run, Bitcoin has almost a 10x, and actually in just 3 years you can multiply your money by 10x. So why are you finding a new gems or maybe investing money in meme coins, and why? Just why you want to lose your money?
10x is not as sexy as 1000x, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've made 1000x, so I get it. I've had some success trading meme coins on ETH. I totally get it. It's just you have to balance your portfolio. They say diversity, and it's funny because these old money people, they get it wrong quite frequently, okay? Because they'll say to invest in these boring assets like gold or these different things and bonds and crap, you know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, don't trust Bitcoin, that's volatile. And they're wrong about that. But one thing they're right about is diversification. Yeah. So if you do have a crypto portfolio, if you're a believer in it, and you're one of the smart people, I think, if you do, all right, I do think, though, you need to diversify. And if you see a good meme coin, throw $100 at it if you got it, you know what I mean? Yeah. But don't throw your whole bag into it and think, oh, freaking, Trump coin's going to go to the moon. It might, but it might not. You might lose everything. I mean, I thought it was funny when there was this Trump coin that was considered like the OG on Ethereum. And then Trump actually launched his own coin on Solana. And to me, I thought it was so ironic to watch Trump fans from the OG ETH coin get dumped on by their god, their chief, whatever you want to call it. That's their guy they look up to, and it's insane. But those kind of stories are told every day in DeFi. You create an OG meme coin, and someone creates the same idea the next day and stomps on your idea, and somehow they're the bigger meme coin, even though you were first. It's one of those markets that. You have to remember it's a valueless token. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, there's no utility there. It's just the bigger fool. Who's gonna grab your bag afterwards?
Yeah, you definitely aren't gonna sell Trump coin and go buy groceries with it. You know what I mean? You're not gonna say, well, how much is that in Trump?
Well, who knows, right? Trump is pretty wild, so who knows what kind of ideas he has for his coin going forward.
Maybe, I guess we'll see, huh?
True. So, but back to Lumexo. I think you were also want to share some new news about perhaps a token related to Lumexo. Did I get it right?
So I'll share this, okay? So we are considering the idea of a token, but we really don't want to dictate to people what it's going to be. And in our view, we want the community to be very involved in it. And we have some ideas in terms of tokenomics, and I'll just be honest, they come in large part from my experiences and work with BadgerDAO. I just feel like they had a very successful airdrop campaign. They were able to incentivize people who participated in this DeFi ecosystem in a very specific way, that they were basically able to launch a complete community overnight. It was pretty wonderful. I was a recipient of the Badger token, and it was partly because of the way I had been swapping wrapped Bitcoin. I engaged in some very shady, very confusing yield farming strategies, and somehow that put me on an airdrop list. And I received some tokens, and I was part of their marketing team for a little while, and I was also a part of multiple people who received that token, more skilled, more technically savvy even than me. And we just basically launched this thing overnight. It was just, this small team of developers in Badger DAO. And then suddenly they have this whole community of people like working their ass off day and night to market this. And that's how they were able to reach $2 billion in TVL and probably more. So it was pretty remarkable to watch a token that you received that was maybe like $1 go up to like $80 at peak. It was insane to watch something like that.
Yeah, that really motivates. But I mean, you can do different things with the token, right? I mean, you can do governance or liquidity or staking.
Yes.
Or
So
even
we've talked about governance, and we've also talked about things like rewards from people providing liquidity. And when we get to actually showing the product, doing a little brief demo, again, we're actually doing our beta Thursday, is when we're going to start rolling that out this coming Thursday. So just keep in mind, we have about another week to kind of finish up some features, but we've talked about the possibility. And again, this is all going to be, the community is going to be involved. Like, we're going to still iterate on it, but like the idea is potentially we could have, since we have a small swap fee associated with swapping through Lumexo, perhaps that feeds the token, and maybe early users are able to get an airdrop through that, or rewards in the way of the token. It's something we're still figuring out in ways of the tokenomics. But again, our inspiration is going to be Badger and what they did, because I thought that what they did was remarkable. The way they brought together Bitcoin maxis and Ethereum maxis, their concept of bringing Bitcoin to DeFi, and here we are, this basically stellar decentralized exchange. Okay. And we have the opportunity here, not just with what we're enabling in terms of facilitating swaps and other types of transactions on the greater Stellar network, but we have this remarkable opportunity to be on the ground floor of Stellar's DeFi, taking what was so great about Ethereum, but doing it Stellar's way. Like, that to me is freaking phenomenal. So like the main thing that to me is, besides being community led, besides following those ethos of what I think was passionately done correctly by Badger, it's also like we want there to be real value to the token. We don't want just another token people are gonna pump and dump. Like, that's not meaningful to us. Like, we're trying to launch essentially, like we are launching essentially the Stellar native DEX, with DeFi capabilities and so much more. I mean, we don't want our token to be a weak point in that, and we're going to spend a lot of time to get it right.
And one of the most important things in crypto, and I probably don't have to tell you guys, is community building, right? So you don't want to attract just traders. You also want to build and maintain and grow your community, right?
Correct. And that's why, one part of how we consider the distribution of this token might be things like market making. You know what I mean? Because people who swap in and out of assets, of course, they provide value to the network, but they might be in for a day, they might be in for a week, they might be in for a month, they might be in for 5 seconds if they're just that unsure about something. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how long a trader is going to be there, but someone who provides liquidity to the market, that's somebody you really want to look out for and provide value to, and incentivize them. You know what I mean? Because this whole thing doesn't work. And I say this all the time, it doesn't work without incentives. If you don't have your incentives right, people leave, and for us, the token has to be correctly incentivized. All right,
I imagine there's also a lot of competition on Stellar itself, right? I mean, between blockchains, you already mentioned Ethereum, but you also got Solana. I guess there's also like a lot of heat from Solana, right? Because it's also pretty low fee and fast and scalable, right? Yeah, scalable.
Yeah, I mean, with Solana, to me, it's about. To me, it's decentralization, whereas, people always try to really sell me on Solana and its fees, and, oh, Trump coin just launched on Solana and you can swap in and out so quickly. I mean, that's nice, but if you don't have the decentralization component, like, you don't have much, and it never really completely sold it for me there. I mean, I've read white papers, and at one point I could speak more to that. Maybe the rest of you guys can, but like, to me, like, whenever I did deep dives on it, to me, it was like the decentralization aspect I wasn't sold on. And, with layer 2s and everything, and the bridging and the insanity. God, it makes me sick just thinking about it. Like, it's not fun. You know what I mean? It's not fun at all. But like with Stellar, I mean, what I love about it is it's like with Lumexo, you know, you can literally just hop on, spin up a wallet, and get to work. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of messing around. There's not a lot of waiting for transaction times and, oh God, did I send it to the right address? It's taking like a couple extra minutes than I was expecting, you know? It's just a completely different environment. And with what they're building out through Sorbonne to enable this kind of like DeFi environment, to me, it's a no-brainer. You know, it's literally like low fee, high, quick finality, Stellar blockchain, DeFi, you know what I mean, compared to Ethereum. And since I was already like an ETH maximalist, the sale to me is very easy. But I'd love it if you guys have anything else you'd love to share about Stellar. I mean, please hop in. You know, I've fallen in love with it. So pardon me if I won't shut up.
Just sell me on Stellar. I do hold some, but you know, I'm still more Bitcoin centric. I wouldn't say maxi. I'm not a maxi, but Bitcoin centric. I do like some other projects out there, and I do keep an eye out on these ISO or ESO projects. But my brother is the big ESO holder among us.
Yeah, I hear you. Go
ahead. Basically, how I told you at the beginning. So for us, it was is a priority that that they are launching Sorbonne at the beginning of the last year. So at this point, there is some competitors on the Stellar network, but some of the projects are abandoned. Some of them are kind of centralized, and that's the reason we are thinking in creating Lumexo that is fully decentralized. That was the point of our view, and we think, for example, my
connection, I think.
Yeah, I just hiccupped.
Yeah, the connection dropped. Yeah. Oh, you know, we'll circle back to that, but I guess you wanted to say sort of.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go on.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, you know, compared to Bitcoin, I mean, obviously, you know, with Bitcoin, you don't have a ton of tremendous inherent like DeFi capability. You know, you've still got that proof of work system, which people love, of course, for its own reason. But, you know, when it comes to smart contracts and stuff, you just can't really natively do a lot of that. I mean, you couldn't until BadgerDAO. And that's what was kind of so great about what they were doing with bringing Bitcoin to DeFi. I think that's pretty remarkable. So like what the next, if you understand what makes Ethereum wonderful, okay, the ability to enable smart contracts, agreements between two different people, not just I have Bitcoin, I send you Bitcoin, done. You know what I mean? Like, but like I want to not just swap an asset, but maybe I want to lend and borrow against it, or maybe I want to release this asset when this is done. You know what I mean? Which is kind of where you get into the next realm of what if I want to buy a house with it, okay? And maybe like the funds are held in escrow, right? And you have situations like that. So if you kind of understand that with Ethereum, then now let's take it to Stellar. So to kind of make it a little more direct. To me, it's really about understanding, and this confused me when I was first really getting introduced to Stellar, but you're so used to Ethereum, smart contract built on Ethereum that enables this capability, right? You have Uniswap built on Ethereum, okay? And you wonder about these gas fees, right? Well, that's it, right? If you look at Stellar, though, this is all natively built into the network. You have Stellar DEX, AMN, path payments, Sorbonne, but I like to say it's kind of like it's there, but if you're not a developer, it's kind of like you're wandering in the dark. It's like you're blind. You're Ray Charles, okay? You can't see what's going on there, and we make you not blind. We make you able to see. Okay? Stacked, you can do these different things, right? But that's the value we provide, but the value that Stellar provides by natively providing these things is what you see when you see those low gas prices and that quick finality. It's all those benefits of being able to transact And again, with Soraban, now we're going to have DeFi components, right? But being able to do all of this on the Stellar layer, okay, that increases speed, that lowers costs, and it's actually less fear or trust issues, because how often did we see during DeFi summer whole liquidity pools get raided, right? And these hackers would take this money out of these liquidity pools. There was such a crazy strategies they used. Like, they would call them different things, these smart contracts, vaults. With Badger DAO, you had sets, because badgers live in sets, and I remember there was this one called like Pickle Finance, and they had pickle jars, okay? Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, God, I hope I don't get this wrong, but I think it was Pickle Finance, okay? And somebody swapped a jar, all right, because they didn't list some kind of code identifying this vault, this jar, whatever you want to call it, that it contained everyone's liquidity. So almost like Indiana Jones with like the sack of sand, and he puts it down and takes the gem, you know what I mean? That's what they did with like a whole freaking smart contract full of people's money. And then they tornado cashed it away and they stole it all. You know what I mean? That's insane, right? That someone got away with that. And when these things happen, this is where people who get upset, who lose money, they call for things like regulation, even though we kind of saw what happened with FTX, and they were cozying up to, Sam Bankman-Fried was cozying up to Gary Gensler of the SEC.
They were fully regulated, yeah.
Yeah, and they were trying to build their regulation around these guys while sending letters to Uniswap as if they were the bad guys. And this guy stole everyone's money, right? But basically, like, if it's not your keys, not your crypto, if you live by these rules, if you actually live in a decentralized environment, okay, it is safe unless you're dumb and you give your keys to somebody else, unless you give someone the ability to take from you, right? But a lot of these things that have happened would not happen in a truly decentralized fashion, a truly decentralized environment. But furthermore, if they weren't reliant in the case of Pickle Finance, for instance, if they weren't reliant on smart contracts working a certain way, okay, we wouldn't have had these issues in the first place, because you just say, this is a blockchain, okay? Mm-hmm. We have all these transactions that are constantly going in, verifying the network. We have people all over the world validating it. It would be literally impossible to fake a transaction, right? When you have that level of security inherent to your network, and you don't have a smart contract built on top where someone put a zero in the wrong place, or they didn't remember to identify this smart contract versus this and put a signature on it so you can't fake it, right? Or whatever little mistake. Sometimes like 17-year-old people building these smart contracts, and you're relying on them. You don't know that, right? Well, with Stellar, you don't have to worry about that because it's built into the network. Like we're basically facilitating these transactions. We're enabling you to cross oceans and access all that is there with the Stellar network. So you have these smart contract capabilities, but you don't have the same risk, okay? And that's why when like people talk to us about things like, oh, are you going to do audits? Are you going to do this or that? It's really not the same environment that you would have with like Ethereum or other things. And that's why a big part, and we haven't gotten to this yet, to us is education. You know what I mean? Because, every platform, if they're going to be useful to actually growing the adoption of a network, especially something like Stellar, which is far from new, but like, with what they're doing with DeFi, a lot of growth is happening here. There's a lot people don't know. We have to really educate people on what makes our platform different, but also what makes our network different, right? Because it's not just about us, or if you transact with us or whatever. We want you to know what you're doing on this network. We want you to know what's safe about, how to be safe. You know what I mean? You should know that. And I just, what I see as the greatest value and Stellar's greatest selling point, Lumexo's greatest selling point, is that we're backed by the network. You know what I mean? There's not like the same smart contract layer built on top of this. It's not the same thing. If we do work with Blend or some organization like that, yes, they're built using Soraban, which is Stellar's DeFi toolkit, and of course, I'm assuming some trust obviously matters to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we have natively with our Stellar decentralized exchange is just a very different environment where you can very much trust it, and everything that we integrate, any partnerships we integrate, our number one focus is trust, security, privacy, not compromising things like being non-custodial or being KYC'd or thinking that we need to like identify you to protect you. That's ridiculous. It's against our ethos. You know what I mean? We're here to contribute to this decentralized environment, not take away from it. We want to be givers, not takers. That's I guess my biggest selling point for it, I guess I'd say.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the DeFi environment on Stellar? I mean, you said it was growing or it is big. I only hold it, but my knowledge of Stellar is very minimal, to be honest. So there's a lot of DeFi going on Stellar, or?
There are DeFi projects that enable different things. We mentioned Blend, which has lending and borrowing capabilities, and there are others. But I guess what I'm kind of getting at is that it has potential. It's in its infancy because what we're actually seeing happen. So Protocol 23, which we just made a post about, it's actually Stellar's big leap. So basically what they're enabling, I mean, as if 5 seconds wasn't enough, right? For finality of transactions, they're looking at things like making it even faster and cheaper to launch smart contracts, right? They're also looking at parallel execution. So I believe being able to run different instances at once, and flexible consensus mechanisms as well. Now the test net for this Protocol 23 is live, and we have the mainnet vote on September 3rd. But it's not just an upgrade. It's basically the foundation of open DeFi markets on Stellar. So what we've just begun to see with different platforms like Blend, so forth, it's going to enable even more in terms of the DeFi environment. And if there's any more you guys would like to provide to add a little bit of color, I mean, feel free to jump in. But that's basically like kind of a quick overview I could probably give in terms of like, people who are just getting introduced to the network, and we plan to put out a lot more content with regards to what this means and how we're going to grow it over time.
Yeah, because education is key, of course, and I think it's a good thing that you have a growing community, because that's like the first group of people that you can educate on what you can do with Stellar and its potential. So let's say, like, if you look over the horizon next year or perhaps the next 5 years, where do you see Stellar, Lumexo, and perhaps crypto in general?
I'd love to see greater adoption, frankly, and I think that's what we're going to see, because again, we can't predict cycles, but what we do have is tremendous optimism. Okay, the glass is not half full; it's overflowing, in our view. We're very excited about what's coming next, and these DeFi components. If people can understand what's being developed and what it means. Comparatively, even just from Ethereum, right? If you understood what DeFi summer meant to Ethereum, that moment's coming with Stellar, okay? And yeah, you can look at things like price go up, okay, and maybe that means something to you, okay? But it's not just that. It's the developers coming to Stellar, okay? It's what they're doing with Sorobon and what we're doing with Lumexo, okay? Because to us, yes, we want to partner with people in the space because you cannot make it without partnerships. We need more developers. We need all the value that we can bring with all the people who can contribute to it in a meaningful way. All of this is incredibly important. But when we have this DeFi environment enabled through Sorobon, okay, even more so with the enhancements through Protocol 23, what I think you can see as we continue to grow, at least from our point of view, is that we will take time to participate in actually developing more inherently ourselves. So not just what we partner with other people to build, but what we build inherently to better our community. Things we can do with our token to incentivize people using our platform, or how they participate in governance, so that they can actually make an impact on what Stellar is. Because I could sit here all night talking about everything that I think is going to happen with Stellar and how freaking wonderful it's going to be, and like money's going to be raining from the sky and we're all going to be happy. It's going to be heaven on earth, but really it's going to be the community that dictates that. And that's what we want to make sure is very clear with what we do with Lumexo. We want to make sure that that our community has a big role in it. And my biggest hope is over the next 5 years, we can grow this tremendous community and get them excited about what we're doing.
Well, you made me very interesting. You piqued my interest in Stellar much more, especially the smart contract side and the DeFi side is it's very, very interesting. I never looked at it like that. So that's interesting. I think, one of the other things that my brother would probably ask you is how do you compare, Stellar to its, some say, big brother XRP, right? Because they are kind of similar in certain ways. How would you respond? Like, what are their differences? What are what makes XRP unique and what makes it different from Stellar or vice versa?
Do you guys want to jump in on this one? I'm honestly not a big XRP guy.
Me neither, to be honest. I don't know anything about XRP.
I would like to jump in this discussion, but but I will not.
I will say,
in general, I prefer Stellar because, in my opinion, the Stellar make bigger steps than Ripple, in my opinion. So it's not that little brother. So
no, yeah.
Depends.
That's what they say. That's not my words.
Yeah, but I will not jump in this subject, and that's the reason we choose Stellar and not Ripple. If I check now, I think Ripple is the top 3, and Stellar is maybe top 12. And yeah, we still choose Stellar. So yeah.
Yeah, besides like
You ask.
components, I also think like being in 12, it's like there is potential for growth here, like that we're still not yet recognized. But no hatred to Ripple at all. Like I've been cheering them on ever since the SEC went after them. I was like, it's these guys trying to call them a security. I just hope they win. And it was just so wonderful to see them win that case. I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? I'm cheering them on for sure. But I hope to be able to answer that better next time we're asked about that. But anybody who wants to learn about what we love about XLM, we're happy to talk about that. And we're happy to continue learning about other chains so we can explain the benefits and what's different. Because, it's like different languages, right? Like there's different reasons for people to use them, and they express different things in different ways, and it's all beautiful, I would never sit here and say that people should sell all their XRP and buy XLM. All that I would say is
it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. They wouldn't.
No, there are some diehard followers. They would kill us. But no, like I would just say, come take a look at what we're doing, like not just Stellar, but what we're doing here with Lumexo, and I think you're going to see something to fall in love with.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't have a bone in this fight, but it's so basically you guys are the underdog, and you have actually more potential, you could argue, in that way than XRP, which is always in the limelight, always taking the spotlight, perhaps away from other very promising projects like Stellar and. There's others. I mean, Algorand is also very interesting. Well, anyway, okay. Is there anything that we sort of missed in this conversation that you want to highlight or maybe circle back to?
Why don't we do a quick demo?
The demo.
Somebody actually, it was reminding me because I was looking in the chat and somebody actually said, I can't buy Bitcoin with $10. Well, yes, you can. And I'm going to show you how. So give me just a moment. So this is our beautiful DEX, okay, our Stellar DEX, because it's very important to highlight that, okay? And just keep in mind, guys, I just want to say this, we are entering beta next week, so next Thursday, a week from today. So some things that you will see here, they're not perfect yet. We're still iterating on them. If trending assets aren't literally what's trending, or the charts don't look, it's not done yet. Like, this is a demo. We're just showing you what it looks like, what we're iterating on, and it's going to continue getting better and better. So I'll just do some highlights and try to kind of explain what it is that we've developed. But it's not far removed. It's not rocket science or anything you haven't seen before in terms of an exchange. But I do think it's displayed quite well. And again, when you consider the ethos with which we operate this network, the idea that this exchange, our platform, is we're all about open markets. We want people to be able to trade whatever they want to, and basically have the freedom to do so. We're not here to gatekeep. We're not here to tell you what you're supposed to buy or sell. We're not here to talk about what the price of any asset's going to be today or tomorrow. We just want to give you an open platform, okay, to manage your financial assets on Stellar the way that you see fit. So basically, to that end, you've got your basic things here. We're in our dashboard, so you can see your total portfolio value, trending assets. You've got loyalty tiers, which could relate to different types of users and holdings or fees for liquidity pools and so forth. Your list of assets, which you can sort based on balance, based on price, based on change, right? So all that, of course. And then we'll go ahead and migrate over here to total balance. You can see your wallet right there, your non-custodial wallet, with your balance here and some trust lines reserved, different things. This is all the different tokens that you have. And again, you can sort them in different ways. And as you can see, we got some BTC here. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, and how you can buy Bitcoin through our platform. If you want to receive funds, it's very easy. You've got your little QR code to scan. You've got your wallet ID to copy, all the things that you would want from basically any decentralized exchange that you've seen before. The ability to send assets that you have to other wallet addresses, any amounts. You can include a memo. Thank you, Grandma. I love the pie. Happy birthday, whatever. And then you've got a debug mode as well. So that's all pretty cool. And you can swap, choose different assets, whatever you need to do. Additionally, we have a transaction history here, which is just taking a second to load, but we have, different things that have been received, sent, when the account was created, and you can sort accordingly. If you have something pending, it'll appear there. If you have an order in the order book, you can place it here, and you can cancel it as well or edit it, whatever you want. I am such a noob when it comes to orders because I do not do order books, but I will try my best to show you. So we also have our market here, which we've got hot coins, top gainers, and top volume. And again, if this is not perfect or not accurate, again, just remember it is just a demo, but this is exactly how it's going to basically look with the correct assets in the correct place. And of course, you have these various assets that you can sort by things like 24-hour change, up or down, and liquidity or holders, volume, just all these things that you can kind of get a better perspective of what's going on in the market with various assets. It's kind of nice to have the knowledge of what's going in the market before you do a swap, right? Mm-hmm. So if you decide that you want to do a swap and take a chance, God help you, you'll just come on over here and you can swap between different things like XLM and USDC. So we'll go ahead and buy one USDC and we'll see that that's 2.65 XLM. We'll go ahead and swap. We'll accept the price. Oh no. All right, and it takes just a second. Now just imagine Ethereum, okay? How long it takes for Ethereum, right? Oh my God, it's done. Like, isn't that insane? Like, we've already done our swap. Like, that to me is already wonderful. Now, this is crazy. Somebody was asking, You can't buy Bitcoin with $10. I'm going to do you one better, bro. I'm going to buy Bitcoin for $1.
Yeah, you can buy sets.
Correct. And don't, again, this is, I believe this is Lobster held Bitcoin, and they do carry a certain amount of Bitcoin on their platform, right? So, you know, I don't know if it's an IOU. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. It's not like you literally have Bitcoin in the same way. It's almost like it's a little different when you have wrapped Bitcoin right on the Ethereum network. But anyway, I'm not going to get into the nuances of what that means and everything. I'm just saying you can technically buy Bitcoin on this platform in a way. So there is that. So we did that. We spent our $1 and we got a very small amount of Bitcoin. Can you believe that somebody actually spent so much Bitcoin on a pizza? I still cannot get over that. It is overwhelming to me. Like, wouldn't you hate yourself for the rest of your life?
It was actually even more than that, right? Because he spent a whole month. It was almost like 100,000 Bitcoin in total.
Oh my God! Oh,
Yeah,
it makes me sick. Wonderful. So I will switch over to order books now. And I am such a noob with order books, but I'm going to give it a shot. So basically, like, you know, if you're familiar with being able to do trades, being able to place an order and it fulfills when you reach a certain price, that's basically what this is here. And you can do it with XLM, USDC, Bitcoin, whatever assets you can swap between on the Stellar network. We have accessibility here. It's quick, it's easy. And all you have to do is you see a price here. Let's just say we're going to go down here to the lowest price, and we'll just go ahead and click it real quick. And we'll just go 1 XLM, buy XLM, confirm order, and then it's done. I mean, it's that simple. Transaction submitted, waiting for network confirmation, and we did it, yay! And then you can see we have a higher balance of USDC now. So it's pretty simple, and you can do probably, you know, other things with this as well. You might want to do, you know, if you might want to sell through the order book, if you want to plan for a drop or something, like there's lots of different things that you can do here. And you've got your open orders, your history, all market trades, etc. So lots you can do here. This last thing is liquidity pools. So this is kind of cool because you can actually look at different pools, okay? And, you know, this is where being a market maker actually pays off, okay? So besides what we may want to enable with the way of our token, once we get to that point, it pays to be a market maker anyway, right? If you believe in a pair, maybe it's XLM and Stronghold, SHX, right? Whatever, okay? You can literally like add liquidity to this pool and earn 14%, okay? And depending on how much liquidity you're adding, that could be a lot, you know? Let's take a look. You know, I mean, you could earn $325 daily if you present that much XLM, right? Which we have nowhere near as much, right? But a 14% APY, you try to ask for that from a bank, they're gonna kick you out, right? So, I mean, that's remarkable that you're able to do that. And you can do it right through our platform quickly and easily. But let's just say you want to add 10, right? We'll just do 10 XLM, right? But we don't have enough SHX. Maybe we'll do 1. We'll do that. So we'll go ahead and add liquidity, right? Quick and easy.
It will make a difference.
Just under, like way under a penny of daily earnings. But hey, guys, it adds up. Successfully added liquidity. And if you want to remove liquidity, you've got all the things you would typically see, 25, 50, 75%, 100, remove all liquidity. Look at how quick and easy this is. I mean, how often on Ethereum do you have transaction failed? You know, you waste some gas just to try, successfully removed. You have to sign a transaction with MetaMask. You have to confirm it twice, confirm a spending limit. And by then the prices change, right? I mean, what a nightmare. None of that with Stellar and this platform. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. And then you can go back to pools and be like, I didn't really want to add liquidity to that pool. What the hell was I thinking? I wasted less than a penny. Oh well, I'm gonna move on and invest in something else. Well, you can now. Like it's that quick and easy, and you can do it with Lumexo, and that's basically it. That's basically what I wanted to show you guys, unless you had something else that you wanted to ask about.
No, it's a really nice and clean overlay, and it works really fast, as you can expect from XLM. So no, that's a perfect demo, and I think it might open some eyes. And yeah, great work, guys. Great work.
Thank you.
Really nice. Yeah, maybe I should provide some liquidity myself.
You should. Becoming
We are waiting you.
We will keep bothering you until you start using Stellar every day and you do nothing but talk about us, okay?
Oh, sorry. that was not intentionally. I tried to close your share screen. Now, my brother would be proud if I become a Stellar Maxi. So
yeah, just check it out. I mean, honestly, like to me, like you have to use it to really get it, because like we can talk about it. Seeing it is pretty remarkable too, but once you actually play around with it, once you swim in the pool, you don't want to get out, and that's kind of like what I like to say. It's the same way I felt about Ethereum. And I was saying that, right? In the midst of DeFi summer, I was trying to onboard my friend and he's like, but transactions are like $50. I'm like, bro, just get in. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, right? And he did, and he loved it, right? But he still later on said, yeah, but those transaction fees are pretty high, right? And here, like, honestly, you don't have that issue, So what's there not to love, That's just my point of view.
No, I think you got a point. And yeah, I think for everybody watching, like especially those people who are noobs to Stellar, I think it was a perfect demonstration of what Stellar has to offer, and especially Lumexo building its non-custodial wallet and decentralized exchange on Stellar. It was a very fascinating talk. I really enjoyed it, and I wish all you guys the best. And we would love to have you back in the future, maybe after Rio or some other moment in time.
Hell yes. Like, honestly, hit me up. Like, if these guys are too busy building out smart contracts, kissing babies, shaking hands, making deals, you just call me up and I'll be right back. I love talking about this network, and hopefully we will have, well, not hopefully, we will have a lot more to share at that point. So I'm in.
Awesome. Yeah. And then probably my brother will be there too. It sounds like a good idea.
I hopefully like him just as much.
I think you will. I think you will. You will be cheerleading all the way. So yeah. No, I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I wish you guys all the best, and have fun in Rio.
Thank you
so much.
We enjoyed a lot, and have a nice evening. Thank you a lot for hosting.
Thank you. Take care, and see you soon.
See you. Bye bye.
See you later. Bye.